This Big 12 Game of the Week Backyard Brawl edition of the Big 12 Experience on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now and use the promo code SGP. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on any NFL game, only on DraftKings Sportsbook with the code SGP. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Snag the tickets without stress. Use the promo code SGPN on your first purchase to save $20. Download the Game Time app. Use the promo code CFBX. And we're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play the Underdog Pick'em in college or NFL and win up to 20 times in one game. Use the promo code SGPN at Underdog Fantasy for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. And finally, but not least, we're brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app and visit hofbets.com. Use the promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. And welcome, everybody, back to the Big 12 College Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is week 3 in the college football season, and we got our Big 12 game of the week, and I think you guys had an idea of where we were going for this one. We're going to Morgantown, West by God, Virginia. If you guys know who you're talking to. Moneyline Mac, a.k.a. the former video coordinator for Bob Huggins and Frank Martin, and joined each and every episode on the Big 12 College Experience talking Mountaineers. He was born in Provo, Utah, actually. He's got family names Iowa, but he lives in Morgantown. He is a graduate of West Virginia University. Like myself, he is Rambling Rush. Rush, are you ready for some brawl, man?
Dude, first time living in Morgantown, and the Backyard Brawl's coming to Morgantown, man. I'm fired up. I'm excited. I'm actually in DC right now. Had to get the quick business trip out of the way, done with for the week. Back in the home studio tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see what Kennedy picks there, GBO Farms. Looking forward to that coin flip on Thursday. But hey, get the business out of the way and then get on to the real business. Pitt's going down, man.
Hell yeah. And join third man in the box, batting in the 3-hole. You know him from all his family civil wars in the Big 12. Norman, Stillwater, Waco, Fort Worth, list goes on. He's got a seed spread in Orlando, Cincinnati, soon to be Morgantown, West Virginia. Maybe a surprise appearance this weekend. Big 12 guru Troy, what's up, brother?
Yo, I didn't know that Rush was as close to me as he was this last, I don't know, just today. Would you come down this morning or something like that?
Something like that. Good old, the wedding gods cursed me, and I'm getting married during BYU West Virginia, of course. So had to go through the final venue run through. So needed to get that out of the way for West Virginia Pitt. So. Well, don't worry, Troy. I always let you know when I'm here, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna grill some steak whenever we're done with this. So if you're close enough, just swing by. But yeah, I'm excited for the brawl. I kind of know which way everybody, my co-hosts, are leaning in this one. I'm gonna play into that. I got this sweet Eat Shit Pit shirt when I was in Morgantown. I think it was a pizza and an Eat Shit Pit shirt for like $6.50. Can't turn that shit down. Gotta go for that.
No, it will be shared Backyard Brawl stories all week. Before we bring on our guests for the Backyard Brawl, we got to talk. And by the way, this is a special guest. I think many of you are going to know him and recognize him, but we'll do so on the other side because we got to talk about DraftKings because football is back in full swing with another week of epic games. And DraftKings has got you covered on the action, every single one of them. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the National Football League. New customers can bet up to $5 on any NFL game to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Don't miss out on all these games. DraftKings customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every day this September. Get on the NFL Week 2 action. It'll be here before you know it at DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now. Use the promo code SGP to sign up. New customers can bet just $5 to take home $200 instantly. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. Code SGP. The crown is yours. And if you got a gambling problem, please call 1-800-see DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details, state-specific, responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after insurance. And we are also brought to you by, you guys know this, Game Time. Get over there to Game Time. You want to go to the Backyard Brawl? Good luck. It's going to cost a lot. So do so over at Game Time because those tickets are on demand. Buying tickets to your favorite event shouldn't be stressful. Planning's overrated. And Game Time is the fastest way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater near you with killer deals on last-minute tickets with their best price guaranteed. You can stop stressing over the tickets and your budget and start getting hyped for the game. Rush, you are an big advocate of Game Time. Talk about Game Time.
Absolutely. Use Game Time since its inception. You hit the nail on the head, the killer deals. I'll meet up with Troy right before Nats games, hang over at Walter Sports Bar, drink a couple painkillers, watch those as the game time gets closer and closer. Those prices go down, lock them in, and then head right over to Nats Park. Love Game Time. Love that they show you the where you're going to sit before you even purchase. So it's a great app. Most user-friendly ticket app out there.
It is, and if you want some images of your seat this weekend, there might be a burning couch in your seat when the Mountaineers beat Pitt. You know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Buy the tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps in your set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email. And we are back on the Big 12 College Experience talking West Virginia Mountaineers and that filthy school up north. I like to call each shit Pitt, but we had to bring on a special guest. He's making his debut on the Big 12 College Experience. Everybody knows him from the college football experience, the college basketball experience, the FCS college experience, and now the Big 12 College Experience. My partner every night on Midnight Madness on the college basketball experience, Pick Dundee. What's up, my brother?
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. And I love the work you guys have been doing. And I'm honored for my first time to be on being the Backyard Brawl, because that's you know, I live for the fucking Backyard Brawl, man, even though I have no affiliation to either university.
Well, let's lead things off, Colby. Let me ask you, because you're definitely not someone that's for this conference expansion, conference realignment. Everything should be regional play, you know, stick to these traditional rivalries. It's been 12 years since this game's been played in Morgantown. Last time it was played 2011. Of course, they played in Pittsburgh last year. I actually just want to turn the time over to you. Go on in a rant about how a disgrace that is for this game to take 12 years to go back to Morgantown.
Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting. I mean, I fucking wrote my senator, and I haven't heard back. All right? I fucking haven't heard back because, you know, when I look at the problems we have in this country, I think it starts with our you know, what we're doing to these classic rivalries. You know what I mean? People want to talk about how divided we are. Well, that's because we don't get the Backyard Brawl. You know, we don't get the fucking Backyard Brawl every year. We would settle it with sports before, but now we have nothing to, you know, we're all tribal at the end of the day, right? If we don't have sports, we're just like, hey, fuck this, you know, and we start talking shit to one another all over the social medias platforms, or, you know, wherever, and we could fix this all if we just had the Backyard Brawl every year. If we had Colorado, Nebraska every year. That's the irony about all of this, though. I think I read last year, and I think this got broken this year with Florida, Utah, which makes no sense, but I do believe last year's Pitt, West Virginia opening Thursday night college football game, I remember ESPN tweeting out a graphic saying, like, most watched Thursday night game in 10 years. I'm like, oh, no shit, right? No shit. People want to see this. People want to see this, right? So that's what I don't get about the TV execs. You want to dissect the sport and ruin all this traditional rivalry, but then you want the biggest number. Well, guess what? The bigger number is going to be what the rivalry is. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, Colorado, Nebraska just did 9 million views, peaked at over 10 million. Oh, well, guess why? Because people want to see that. I know it's Deion Sanders, but also people want to see the hated rivalries. You know, hatred helps the sport. You know, so look, this is a beautiful rivalry. I've been to this game before. I don't remember much. I got pepper sprayed. I vaguely remember someone getting the piss beaten out of them in the parking lot. And it was just absolutely fantastic, though. The energy in the building was fantastic. It's everything that's right about college football, in my opinion. And I didn't go to this version in Pittsburgh because they play at that filthy NFL stadium now. I want it back. This should be on a fucking college campus at all times. At all times, it should be on a college campus. But no, this rivalry is the epitome of college football and what makes the sport so great. So I hope everybody, even if you're not a Big 12 fan, or maybe you're not a W fan or Pitt fan, I encourage you. If I was to give you a blueprint on how to watch college football, I would say this is the one you got to watch this week. There's a couple other ones that I'm sure you guys will probably talk about that are some good rivalries happening, but this one is a must-watch game if you love college football, if you're just getting into college football because the hatred, especially you haven't had it in Morgantown in so long. So, yeah, it's a must-watch game. I can't wait.
So, not only is this a must-watch game, it's almost a must-watch. The fans watch the game. Like, just being there at the third level is just as much fun. I know these guys are going to ask you a lot of questions specifically about the game. I mean, they're WVU lovers. They're all in. My first question, since you have experience at the Backyard Brawl, is what do you think is the smartest strategy or like the average consumption numbers that they're going to be thrown down here in Morgantown? Let's give it it's a 7 o'clock, 7:30 or 7 o'clock?
7:30 ABC.
7:30. So the extra 30 minutes that could be rough for some. But yeah, let's say about like a 12-hour. If you start going at about 8 in the morning and the game starts at 7:30, what's the strategy to that? Just pound them and hope.
Well, this is one thing that I would once again like to challenge the TV execs is this should be happening on Black Friday because when I was there, it was cold as fuck. So when you go to these games that are cold as fuck, and once again, Colorado, Nebraska should be Texas A&M, put them all the final week of the year. So you have to drink to stay warm. So I'm curious how it will be. What the weather will be. I feel like it's still warm over there, right?
Yeah. It's still warm. It's still humid. So
you're going to be comfortable. Yeah, you're going to be comfortable just throwing them back so that you won't be in as much of a rush. When it was cold as fuck when I was at the game, like we were tailgating like 8 hours before, but it was, dude, I did not have enough. I did not have, I didn't realize, I knew Morgantown was going to, that was my first time to Morgantown. I thought it'd be cold. I didn't know it'd be that cold. So we didn't have Fireball back then. So you're just sitting there, you're getting your hands on whatever the hell you can get your hands on, trying to stay warm, but you had to keep drinking stuff. So, yeah, I mean, going back to the original question that Troy asked me, I would say, it's a little different with the temperature, but I still feel like this is Morgantown. 8 a.m., you start drinking. I actually think you can pass out one time before the game and then get up and then go to the game. And then
it's in a hospital parking lot. You just go get your liver pumped and come back out. You're good.
They got the IV thing these days. You see them in Vegas everywhere. I haven't tried that yet because I'm old school. I believe in I like a nice strong hangover. But yeah, I would say you got opportunities out the look, kids out there. If you've never been to this one, you got opportunities out your ass. Don't bring sunglasses because you want the pepper spray to hit your eyes. You know what I mean? You don't want it. You want the real experience. You want the real experience. So, highly recommend it. And I think Patty C also might have got a tampon thrown on his face. It was dipped in jungle juice. It wasn't a true tampon in a way, but it was, but it wasn't, if you know what I mean. So I would say though minimum, and I don't have my pulse on the youth. I want to say minimum 32 beverages.
That's a good one. So just over a case. Go ahead.
That's kind of funny. The cold is like having a track and field championship with the wind at the back. Like the world records don't actually count, but this weekend it's all warm. You're gonna have to really commit if you wanna break some records.
So my recollection, honestly, like if you sat me down by the police department and I had to pass the lie detector test, here's my recollection of my trip to Morgan. I had to check the score just when we were doing pre-episode. I was like, I don't even remember who the fuck won. I think West Virginia won because everyone was partying. But so my experiences where we started drinking very early in the morning, and it was so cold. First off, like I said, multiple fights, but one guy specifically got his one Pitt fan really got his ass whooped, and we all thoroughly enjoyed it because he had been talking a lot of shit for a long time. But they have what's great, and I'm curious if you guys still do this. It was like an old school. It was like a old school Seagal movie or something where you'd see just like a trash can on fire in pits of the parking lots, like an oil, what would I call that? I don't know, like just a tub of oil, but like on fire. Yeah.
Yes, I still have those. Yes,
and you got people doing their hands, putting there, and it just dude, it was fucking awesome. So my experience is I remember being just piss drunk in the parking lot for about 12 hours, and then several people getting their ass whooped, and then when I went into the game, I didn't start a fight, but someone in the section, like within a 30-seat radius, got into a big fight, and the fine police officers in Morgantown figured it was best to just nuke the whole area. Let's just pepper spray everybody in this section. So love what they're doing there, because then you're at the bars later in the night. Once again, you rally late, but it was hilarious because your eyes are just bloodshot fucking red. People think you're crying, and you're just still doing Jaeger bombs and everything. Awesome experience and everything that's great about So that's my memories. That's my recollections of just energy everywhere. The hatred at an all-time high. I want to say there might have been some batteries thrown at the West Virginia players. Rightfully so.
No, that's happened multiple times, and I could just let everybody know I have doubled my H2O intake yesterday, today, and then leading up to about Thursday, and then just so a little bit of experience dealing with these brawls and these games. I've been pepper sprayed as well in Morgantown after we beat Texas, the first ever game in Austin in the Big 12. But Colby, to transition over to the game a little bit, these two programs, a guy that has previewed 133 teams in this summer, so you know a little bit about everything when it comes to all these programs. Talk about the state of the program with Pitt and West Virginia. This is a big game, obviously, from the rivalry, but both teams 1-1. Neal being on the hot seat, and then year number 9, they Phil Narduzzi.
So, and if you're catching the Mel Tucker things, I mean, Narduzzi has connections to Michigan State. So you're thinking, if you're a Pitt fan, you're like, well, I hope we always beat West Virginia, but I also hope we win enough games where Narduzzi leaves. Because, I mean, I don't know. Narduzzi is one of these coaches that kills me because I feel like he's good at making like a 3-star, a 4-star, or a 5-star theoretically, like a high draft pick. But at the same time, you get the game that you see last week where you have a talented quarterback that's reunited with his offensive coordinator. So it should be fine-tuned. And they just ate shit last week. They just looked. We always have a term, and I'm not even a guy that hates Pitt. We have a term that says, Pitt's going to Pitt, which means what the year they won the ACC 2 or 3 years ago with Kenny Pickett, they beat like everybody in the ACC, but they couldn't beat Western Michigan at home. You know what I mean? Like you're going to get that game. So I'm curious the pulse of what Pitt fans like. If I'm a Pitt fan, I might want Narduzzi to go to Michigan State because. You always have Pitt's been so talented over the years. They, won a natty in the 70s, and they just produce like Hall of Fame players nonstop. So if I'm a Pitt fan, I don't know that I'm satisfied with Narduzzi. I think you might think you can get better. Now, Neal Brown is a guy that I was really high on at Troy. Things haven't worked out for him in Morgantown, and I will gladly admit that I've been wrong on Neal Brown. But I also think that W might be a lot better. I was actually impressed to a certain extent with the performance against Penn State. Now, I know they didn't cover because Penn State ran it up, but if Garrett Greene can just pass the ball a little bit more efficiently, I think it's a pretty complete football team that can win 7 games this year. So I perhaps salvage his job. You win this game and you win 6-7 games, you might be able to salvage your job because I know their athletic director also has to hire a basketball coach, so you're kind of just sitting there like, which one do we do first? But I actually think WV is a little bit better than seeing them dead last in every single magazine preseason or every article online. I don't think people really watch the games because I thought they were in a lot of the games. They were a better record. They were a better team than their record indicated, in my opinion. So
no doubt.
Yeah, I think this game's fascinating because of both those angles, though, is that, Narduzzi, at what point do Pitt fans get sick of being 8-4 with a team that's talented, That
kind of,
I feel like
yeah, it's absolutely with you, Colby, but something that's interesting, because this game should be played on Black Friday, right? Is now the conversation has shifted, kind of starting with Ryan's question about what happens to these programs after? Usually you would just figure that out in the offseason, right? Like it would all lead to this game rivalry, no matter how good one team is or bad the team is. It would be an all-out brawl, and then whatever happened from there, you have an offseason to figure it out. This is the third game of this season, and both teams are about to go into conference play. And you bring up, Narduzzi, kind of, maybe Pitt fans do want him out. Obviously, Neal Brown has a career to salvage. Do you think, kind of going into Neal Brown a little more, if Neal Brown loses this game, is he done?
Probably. Now, I mean, obviously, I think the Big 12 is loaded with decent teams, so I still think like Dub V could end up having a solid season. But to be 0-2 in the Backyard Brawl would be pretty strong, and then you really got to win a lot of your remaining games, I think, for you to come back. I don't think they'd fire him like the week after this game, but obviously I think this is kind of a big moment for him, because I think he could end up going 6-6, but you win this game, they might bring you back. But I would say, that's the thing, is like, can you win? This game probably means more than almost any other game on your schedule. Now, obviously, if you beat like Oklahoma or something, it's going to look great, but there's not that hatred there. The fan base, lives for this game. So, I mean,
this is Army Navy.
Yeah. That's why it should be the final game of the year. Cause when you can ruin each other's season, obviously, remember, I mean, I know you guys are Dub V fans, but I remember that Pitt, derailed West Virginia from the national championship, just like Nebraska did to Colorado and Colorado did to Nebraska. And that's what makes the rivalry even on another level. That's why they should play it in late November, is because when your rival might have a bad season, you might be 2-10 or 2-9, but you have that chance to say fuck you to your rival, and that's what's great.
So you mentioned something about Pittsburgh getting Cincinnati and Jurkovec back, reunited, and against Wofford, he obviously didn't look great, but he completed a lot of his passes, and we kind of saw the stinker that he threw out against Cincinnati, even though 3 touchdowns of 10 completions, 3 of them were for TDs. But the biggest issue with that game and with Jurkovec has always been the pressure from the defensive line. And we know that Cincinnati's, the strength of their team is up front. And that's kind of why, I don't know. I mean, we were all kind of low, probably too low on Cincinnati, but do we think West Virginia can provide that pressure, or is this going to be like a Boston College Jurkovec just kind of scrambling around making plays?
Well, I would say Cincinnati's D-line's probably better than Dub V's, but I can tell you that Jurkovec's kind of had a knack for hanging onto the ball late, and maybe that also, he gets injured a lot, but you hang onto the ball late, the more susceptible you will be to getting injured. So I do think, but one of the things that was super interesting to me about the Cincinnati Pitt game we just watched on Saturday was the other side of the ball, where Narduzzi normally has an awesome defensive line. And even when they lose guys, he just replaces them. I'll give Narduzzi all the credit in the world. I worry about his game management coaching all the time, but he normally is very good at developing talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And Cincinnati, I thought one of the biggest areas of weakness for the Bearcats coming into the season was their offensive line. They owned the line of scrimmage against Pitt, at least for 3 quarters. I thought Pitt might have won it in the 4th. But Dub V's offensive line is actually really good. Dub V, I think, actually has one of the more underrated offensive lines in the country and in the Big 12. I think you can make an argument, short of maybe Texas, that Dub V might have the best offensive line in the country, or not in the country, but in the Big 12. So if Pitt's defense comes out like they did against Cincinnati, that defensive line was getting pushed around for 3 quarters. Like I said, I think Dub V's offensive line is way better than Cincinnati. So I think that would be a real real benefit to West Virginia.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what the handicap was for us when we did the West Virginia preview and what we did here on the Big 12 experience. West Virginia's offensive line is a clear strength of the team. I got a Big 12 question for you on the other side, but first got to talk about Hall of Fame bets because you win bigger by betting smarter in the NFL season with Hall of Fame bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, MLB, and soccer bets with historical data and stats. Enter any parlay into Hall of Fame's bets revolutionary parlay optimizer tool to get broken down into the percentages of hitting that exact parlay. Stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame app or visit hofbets.com. Use the promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame bets. And, of course, Underdog Fantasy is a proud sponsor of the Big 12 College Experience and Sports Gambling Podcast. And play alongside with your favorite football team all season long. Play, pick them. You pick between 2 to 5 players. Select whether they'll go higher or lower based off the stats. Every Sunday, watching the games, you can win up to 20 times your money in a game by going 5 for 5. It's a fantasy game bet you want to win real money with. An Underdog's fantasy pick'em thing I like this weekend. I'm gonna ride Garrett Greene and CJ Donaldson. If West Virginia's gonna win this game, they got to win it in the trenches. I think Pitt can be had on the ground. West Virginia, CJ Donaldson, his debut went for over 100 yards last year. So when those come out, get on over there and bet the overs. Watch along, make your picks, and maybe you'll get a little bit of cash over on Underdog Fantasy's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com, and use the sign-up code SGPN. Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN. And we are back on the Big 12 College Experience, talking Backyard Brawl. Colby, let's transition over a little bit of Big 12 and just the outlook. So obviously that school in Austin, who looked good on Saturday night in Tuscaloosa, looks good. The school in Norman looks good as well. I know that they haven't played the schedule as tough as Texas. You got the 4 newcomers. Colorado looks really good. Utah looks really good. Arizona State, up and down. What about the 8 members that will retain in this league and just the outlook of the rest of the season? Do you think K-State is still being slept on a little bit nationally in terms of Big 12?
Always. I feel like it's been their story for 30 years. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this. I did the Missouri preview this offseason, and I thought Missouri was going to be ripe for the upset against K-State, knowing the revenge, and that's an old Big 7, Big 8 rivalry. After watching the first couple weeks, I'm like, nope, I was wrong. K-State's going to go into Columbia and beat the piss out of them. But I'm still fascinated. I'm glad that game's back on the schedule. But no, I do think Kansas State's always underrated, in my opinion. Like, I still think they're a contender in the conference. I still would rank them ahead of Oklahoma. And I still would, honestly, I think I know the game's in Austin, and Texas has had their number lately. But just because Texas beats Bama, which they're super impressive, and they deserve all the credit in the world for beating Bama. They should have beat Bama last year. The refs really blew that. But at the same time, we need to see it consistently. Remember, we saw Texas when Musburger had the classic call, I think it was, of them being back when they beat Notre Dame in the season opener. But then the rest of the season, they sucked. So we've seen them win big games. The Tom Herman era, they beat, I memory serves me correct, I think in overtime, they beat Oklahoma one year. So we've seen them win big games. Can they consistently do it? But yeah, I was super impressed. Quinn Ewers on the road. That was the first time I've seen him really good on the road. So he's growing up, before our eyes. I also think the Jayhawks. Don't sleep on the Jayhawks. They look super impressive to me as well. That was my preseason pick of Kansas and Texas in the Big 12 championship. But I thought they looked super impressive against Illinois. And I think that offense, that's one thing we should talk about with Texas is they were dominating, but I also thought they should have won by more, right?
Yeah.
And Jalen Milroe is a clearly flawed quarterback. Now, he might be able to be improved down the road and be better. I'm not trying to shit on the kid, but he clearly, that stood out to me. I was watching it with Patty C, and I was saying, man, he keeps throwing the ball in the triple coverage. And they didn't even get picked. But I was like, he's not reading the game correctly. And that stood out to me. Well, you go up against an elite quarterback like Jalen Daniels. I know that game's in Austin too. It's a favorable break for Texas, the schedule, but I still think your defense is going to need to be in the right spot, and Jalen Daniels will shred you if you're not. So fascinated to see that. Not only that, just some of the other Big 12 quarterbacks, even not necessarily Will Howard, but I think Dylan Gabriel or whoever Oklahoma goes with could present some challenges that perhaps Alabama could not do from a passing standpoint.
I would say your mainstream college sports fan or TV watcher probably may not be impressed week 3. However, especially in the Big 12, there's a lot of sneaky week 3 games. You will have Iowa State at Ohio, obviously BYU at Arkansas, Kansas State at Missouri, we brought up here. I guess you do have your first Big 12 game in TCU at Houston, Wyoming at Texas. What game besides the Backyard Brawl itself are you excited for, and what are you looking to see out of week 3 from the Big 12, Colby?
TCU, Houston. I think Houston's live. And I think people are looking at that, and they say Holgerson's seat is super hot. I mean, I get it. You lost to Rice. They're located in the same city as you, but I do think Rice is a bowl team this year. I don't think there's that much shame in that loss. I think Rice is a solid football team. And they were down 28-0. They rallied, scored 28 unanswered, took it to overtime. It's almost amazing that they lost, knowing that they had that much momentum. But yeah, I mean, I know the Houston alums are going to be pissed about that, and maybe they fire Holgerson, maybe they don't. But I do think that team's better than what people think. I think Donovan Smith is a decent dual threat quarterback within the Big 12. I think Tony Mathis, both the guys that got from Dub V, the tight end O'Laughlin, and then I know Troy's a big fan of Joseph Manjack, but no, he was a USC transfer, right? He was a USC transfer that I think is actually a talented wideout that missed a lot of the season last year. I think they're actually more intact. I know their identity more than I do TCU. I think TCU is struggling right now. I know they beat Nichols, okay, but I don't know if they know who they are. That's the one thing that I got from the Colorado game is Chandler Morris, first off, I've never been sold on him as a quarterback. I was on Colorado Moneyline, guys. I don't know if you guys were, but my main breakdown is I thought Chandler Morris, he's never proven it to me, where I thought Shedeur Sanders had a clear edge because he started a bunch of games in college. And Chandler Morris, has had its struggles, but also going from Garrett Riley to Kendall Briles and losing some of the other pieces that they have, I don't know if they know who they are. And I got, even watching that game, I felt like not only did Deion outcoach Sonny Dykes, I felt like they needed a team identity and they didn't have it. So I think Houston's completely live and that's the first ever Big 12 game. I remember I was a guest on a Houston Cougars podcast this offseason, and they were telling me that they've had the most ticket sales ever this year, and they're so excited to be a Power 5 or whatever you want to call it, Power 4, whatever you want to call it. I expect the place to be lit. So give me TCU on the money line. I'm sorry, give me Houston on the money line against TCU. I can't talk.
Dana's special there, baby.
And Dana's special.
Well, Houston might be up and down like that all year as long as Dana's back there. I mean, he'll concentrate on 3 or 4 games and probably win them when you don't expect him to and then lose everything else. But it would be a shame to have Colby on and not directly ask a question about the America's new team being led by one of America's team's players. The Buffs, man, we're going 3 for 3 on either Big Noon or College Game Day this weekend. Obviously, we're going to expect them to win this game. It's more of will they cover, how many points are they going to score, that kind of BS. They go to Eugene. Are they getting Fox Big Noon and Game Day in Eugene?
Probably. I mean,
and against USC.
I was going to say, so if they win that game in Eugene, are they going to get Fox Big Noon and College Game Day back in Boulder against USC?
Even if they lose, they probably will. I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? Look, I'm a Colorado fan, so, but I wish I would see a little more. I wish they would jump around. There's a lot of universities to appreciate their football programs, but, they're the big hot story. I like Colorado State in the points. I like the over even more in that game, but I also think Oregon is probably going to fuck them up. And just because Autzen is Autzen. They haven't – look, going to Fort Worth was fun. But that's Deion's hometown. That's his kid's hometown. going to Autzen, I think they're going to get really fucked up. But because Oregon's defensive line actually has some real bodies. Colorado's done a great job at doing patchwork on the offensive line, and I think long term they're going to be fine. But right now they're still it's a work in progress, and they don't necessarily have first rounders. Whereas I feel like you look at Oregon's defensive line, you're like, no, this guy will definitely be in the NFL. This guy will be in the NFL. I think they probably eat shit there. But the USC game, I think they're live. USC's defense needs to prove it to me. I get it, just a great performance against Stanford, but I don't know what that means yet. I need to see Stanford.
White guys.
Yeah, exactly, right? I think that Colorado could be live against USC, but I mean, what a crazy thing this is for college football. I'm loving it because I grew up a Buffs fan, and I felt like they'd ignored football for so long, and I don't think they ever will ever again. Even when Deion leaves, they're seeing the economic impact that football does to your university, and I think even them, because I know at one point as a Colorado fan, I really felt like they didn't like football. I was like, the fucking administration does not like football. Right, and this has been a great 180 because it gets back to what Colorado was, and Colorado was a blue blood for a decent amount of time. So I think that's coming again.
It's back
I do
to
think
reality.
it's funny, real quick, Colby. Kind of you ragging on administration there. Was that one South Park episode with Crack Baby Basketball, how they used Colorado in there? So you're probably right. They were trying to stick it to the Colorado administration there. So
yeah, I mean, they fired Gary Barnett's comments. So they had a kicker. They had a kicker that was a woman that got.
That's right.
She was claiming a rape case, and I don't even know if that fully got. I don't even know if that fully went. Did they find the people that did? I don't even know if there was. I don't know the storyline there, but I know this. And Gary Barnett was dumb to say this, but the problem presented itself. They had a rule like if a woman tried out that they would put her on the roster. I think if memory serves me correct, or something like that. So you had this situation that was crazy, and they interviewed Gary Barnett, who was a very good coach, and he was like, "Let me tell you about her. She couldn't kick the ball through the uprights, and it was a dumb time for him to say that." Because they're talking about a rape case. You can't. It's like Mel Tucker. It's like, what the fuck are you saying, Mel? But at the same time, I felt like Gary Barnett had done a decent job with the program. Maybe you suspend him. I didn't think he deserved. There was a stupid comment. It was a very stupid comment. But I also felt like maybe, and then afterwards, I just felt like they jumped to the Pac-12. We lost our rivals. And it just seemed like no one cared anymore. I mean, to the fans' credit, you go back and watch a year ago, the Cal game that we won, the one game that Colorado won, they were 0-6 team or something, and everyone showed up. So the fans have always wanted it. So I'm glad that they're aligned now because I feel like Colorado can be a force. Obviously, with Deion, I think the recruiting is going to go through the roof.
Just another quick one before Ryan goes. How long do you think Deion stays there?
Well, I don't know if I saw you guys or someone else talking and about how Deion will be the coach of the Cowboys. He's been on record. Now, I understand that Deion, things change in life, but he's on record saying he has no interest of ever coaching in the NFL because he doesn't like the direction of the NFL with the
I believe that.
More and more guaranteed contracts and stuff like that. He said, no, I'm a college guy for life. So I actually think he might be in it for a decent, more than people think. I know everyone thinks like, 2 years, he's going to be gone. I think he might do like a solid 5-10 years, but I don't know. I mean, I could also see him being like, the coaching grind. And I don't know I don't know if it's more Sean Lewis doing that or, I don't know how Deion's running his program, but I think it'll probably be more than people think. And I actually don't think it would be for the NFL. I think if he left, maybe it would be for another school, but he's already got his I don't know if you saw the press conference with him basically saying he's not a Florida State guy. So I don't think that's a possibility. I know Patty C's saying it's going to happen. No, I feel pretty strongly that he'll never be Florida State's head coach. Now, that doesn't mean he couldn't be UCF's head coach or, that was another angle from the TCU thing is TCU interviewed him and went with Sonny Dykes. So that was another angle that I even forgot. I don't even think I mentioned that much on my show, but I could see him back in Texas somewhere, potentially.
Yeah, if Sark blows the rest of this year.
But also, Deion says, like, I'm the type that needs to be loved, right? Well, I don't know that, like, what he's doing at Colorado, we haven't really seen ever in the history of college football. So, like, he's going to get a pass forever in the state of Colorado, I think.
Yeah.
So he might just want to stay there. They'll build fucking statues for him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
He also seems like he's in it for, like, he's been given a mission from, whether you believe in God or whether you believe in, you know, fate or something like that. Like, he truly believes, like, oh, I didn't want to be a football coach, but I was, you know, pushed to do this from other angles. So, you know, Colorado could have a guy that's there for 15 years.
And let's be honest, one of the things that I love is that I feel, you know, not to make it about race, but I do believe that a lot of white people feel uncomfortable seeing Deion Sanders coach and being the way that he is. And, you know, I don't believe, I think this is refreshing. I think it's great for the sport because I feel like I hate that every coach has to be like the coaching style. You know what I mean? That's why I love Mike Leach. Before I ever met Mike Leach or he ever invited us, I appreciated him because he was him. And to me, you have, in a world where there's so many copycats, to have someone doing something differently and doing it the way that they are, I think it's refreshing for the sport.
Couldn't agree more.
No, I agree.
He's a mentor.
Yeah, no, definitely a mentor. All right, Colby, we know that you got 1,000 shows. I'm sure you got the FCS experience tonight or the college football experience. One last question before you get out of here. We talked a little Big 12. We started with the Backyard Brawl. We're going to finish with the Brawl. Final score for Saturday. We'll see if you can nail the exacta again like you did. What was it, USC San Jose State?
And Iowa State too, right?
Yeah, I've nailed a couple, though. I was pretty damn close on another one too. I don't know. I feel like I was like a point off on one, but yeah, continue.
No, exact score Saturday night. And will the Mountaineers be burning couches and singing Sweet Caroline with a little extra verse? Eat shit, Pitt.
So, look, the key, I know we touched on this, is WV's offensive line against Pitt's defensive line. But I think a lot of people are thinking that means the run game. Well, I actually believe, yes, obviously that's a factor. But I think Narduzzi's an old linebacker. He's going to load the fucking box, right? Garrett Greene has to complete passes accurately. Just enough to make them fear the play action. Because if not, it will be a long day for West Virginia. So I'm taking Doug V. This game hasn't been played in forever. This game in Morgantown, that is. That is why I think Garrett Greene's going to do just enough with the play action. Just enough where the home run threat will be available. Give me let's go 24-22. Yes, I know it's unorthodox.
I like it, Boomer.
Pitt's been known to have that unorthodox scoring approach. They might get a safety somewhere. Give me a 24-22. W makes a field goal to win the game. Let's go.
That's a Swami score.
I love it.
Yeah. 24-22, and everybody watching on youtube.com/college experience sees Eat Shit Pitt is currently laying one, over under set at 50.5. So Colby is on the Mountaineers, obviously. I could have told you he was going to be on the Mountaineers. And he's on the under.
Okay.
So, Morgan, Saturday night, we'll send you some pictures of some couches burning. How's that sound?
Oh, hell yeah. And I think the under is actually the smarter play. Just because if Garrett Greene, Pitt's defense, for some reason, I feel like they take advantage historically of shitty quarterback play, right? If Greene struggles to pass the ball, and Pitt ends up just walking away with it because of a pick six here or something there, I still don't think they can score enough. So I like the under. I think the under is the smarter play than actually taking, a side on this. But I still think, gun to my head, Dub V. It's a close win. Neal Brown perhaps extended.
Survive in advance.
Yeah, let's go.
Survive in advance. Everybody pepper sprayed. Couches on fire.
Yes, can't wait.
Yeah, everybody get over there. Follow Pick Dundee at the Colby D and go check out the college football experience. What other fucking podcast picks every single game, including the FCS games? Go check out Colby, Patty C, NC Nick. They've been doing it for how many years now? What is it, year 15, it feels like?
Oh, man, it's been a long time. I mean, I feel like 8, 7. I think, yeah. I mean, I was doing it before them, but if you add it, it depends what you're counting on. With everyone there, I think 7. So
just ask Patty C, carry the one. So everybody go check out the college football experience. Colby, thanks for stopping by the Big 12 college experience. Look forward to having you back, brother.
Anytime, guys. Appreciate the work you guys are doing. Love the passion, and you're gonna need a big graphic because these conferences are getting fucking gigantic. To add on those teams next year. Thanks for having me on the show, fellas.
Hey, and shout out to Cam Kerr, who makes our graphics. I know you'd like the Texas logo there in the bottom right.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Horns down all day. Let's go.
Just a little touch.
All right, brother. We'll see you, Colby.
Take care, fellas. Yeah.
Pick Dundee from the college football and basketball experience. Get over there. They do their show every single Wednesday night around 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Sorry, I can't talk. Go check out the FCS college experience. All right, let's we got Pick Dundee's backyard brawl pick. We also got a couple other picks. Let's dive into the slate a little bit. I know we'll give out our official betting picks on Thursday for our betting show. A couple quick ones. I'll run through the FCS ones. LIU at Baylor. Troy, your Baylor Bears storyline here. Can you get a win?
I think they have a chance to win a game finally. Again, we'll see how much commitment they show. Hopefully the starters aren't in for forever in this game, but pay attention to at least the first 2 or 3 drives by LIU and see if the defense is actually kind of hustling over the ball or if they still just don't give a shit or not. That's kind of the only thing that I'm paying attention to in this game. The result shouldn't really, I mean, if Baylor loses this game, Dave Aranda's gone before Monday for sure.
Yeah.
But, you know, I really don't expect them to they looked significantly better against Utah, but they still just didn't have that next level of commitment. Maybe we see that at least for the beginning part of the game.
Love it. Nova at UCF. Very, very shiny Golden Knights. 2-0 coming off the big Boise win. Got a big one here. They got a K-State on deck. Take care of business here. Go into Big 12 at 3-0. Rush, your guys from Lubbock, Tarleton going down to West Texas. Do the Red Raiders get in the win column?
They better. They have no choice. It's the exact same as Baylor. If they don't, there's a lot of issues. I actually wanted to ask Colby about whether he thought Baylor or Texas Tech, who was going to make it out better in the Big 12 this season. But I'm so far right now leaning towards Texas Tech. They have their shot to get on track. Hopefully they don't get on track next week against West Virginia. But yep, they better get things right.
This is one real quick that I'm looking at. Take the points with Tarleton.
It is little brother angle in the state of Texas. Yeah,
Tarleton's got a pretty good football program too.
Yeah, Billy Gillespie, coach of the Tarleton Texans.
Because I think Colby said it's 38.5 or something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, look.
Yeah, go shuck yourself. They're not covering that.
All right, here's a big one. K-State. This one opened around 1.5, 2, up to 5. We'll see where it's at on Thursday. Man, this is a big spot for K-State. Missouri's head coach doesn't know who Colin Klein is. Okay, this is an old Big 12 rivalry. This place will be rocking. I will say that about Missouri, but I think we all agree. And what maybe we differ on the spread, but K-State's is too good in the trenches to lose this game. You guys agree?
Yep.
This 5 points is disrespectful.
I agree, man. K-State just keeps getting slept on. I tried to get cute and take your Troy Trojans last week, Troy, but that I ate shit on that. Speaking of eating shit, Iowa State ate shit in the Cy-Hawk Bowl. Rush, tricky spot here, though. They got to go to Athens. Roark at quarterback for Alabama. Ohio U. I don't know where Alabama came from. Tricky spot to Athens.
I think this is what's going to begin that Iowa State decline. Obviously, they came out strong against UNI, tried to, did their best in the Cy-Hawk Bowl against Iowa. They're probably going to lose this game. I think they lose this game in Athens. Terrible scheduling for a terrible year, and the free fall of Iowa State begins.
Yeah, it's definitely a tricky
I mean,
spot.
Ohio's a live dog in that game for sure on the money
No
line.
doubt.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not. It's they're basically not even a dog with that line being within a field goal. So
Going to Athens is not quite Laramie, but man, I would put Athens right there behind Morgantown in terms of consumption and fan vigor.
they're gonna be lit.
Those guys party.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no doubt. No, they get after it in Athens, Ohio. All right, Troy, your Oklahoma Sooners going to Tulsa. Here you
Big
go.
road spot.
Yeah, big road spot.
They gotta
with a
go.
bunch of
They gotta
Boomer
go
Sooner
prove
fans.
themselves on the road here in a stadium that'll be at least 80% maroon. Yeah, I would really hope they cover this game. I would almost be telling my players as a coach, we need to win this game by 30 just to, kind of get back on track. I think the public underestimates SMU. Covering that by half a point against SMU was still kind of impressive to me. Not best in the league impressive, but they should really go kick Tulsa's ass and probably cover this by the halftime.
Yeah, no, Tulsa's bad. Miami of Ohio going to Cincinnati, letdown spot. If you're looking for a letdown spot this week, Cincinnati off the big win at Pitt. This game's always tricky. Rush, do you think Cincinnati pulls away or stay close here?
I'm leaning towards the points with Miami here. I think Cincinnati can go to 3-0 and be at what we thought their win total would be for the year. But yes, this is kind of leaning towards that letdown spot right before Big 12 play for Cincinnati. But hey, maybe we're wrong again, and Emory Jones just keeps climbing that tower all the way to the penthouse. So hey, they're doing well so far. But I like the point. I'm leaning towards the points with Miami of Ohio.
We'll talk more on Emory Jones when we get to the big game predictions here.
Yep. All right. Hey, tricky spot for our guy here. I'm scared of this game, and the line tells you everything you need to know. Our guy, that's not our guy. That's Coach Prime. This is our guy, Coach Gundy, subscriber of the Big 12 College Experience. Coach Prime is too. Troy, if they're going to play three quarterbacks, this could be a hard game for them to win, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think by week 3, Gundy's figured out that Rangel is the best quarterback on the fucking roster. If he listened to the show as much as his shirt says that he does, he would have been hearing me harping this for almost 2 months. As soon as they put Gunner or Rangel into the game, they immediately start scoring points, whether it's like a field goal on that first drive against Arizona State, and then they come right back with a touchdown. But, I mean, Alan Bowman is not the guy, and they need to realize that ASAP. I think South Alabama is a live dog here to win this straight up.
I agree. It's a tricky spot, but Gundy always finds a way. So.
I mean, I would lean towards the points before I took the money line because it's in Stillwater. But, man, if it's close at the end, the poke choke exists for a reason.
That is true. Rush, back to you. BYU going to Fayetteville. This was a bad game last year for them. Is this another rough
that game
spot
was
for
in
them?
Provo too.
Yeah.
I don't. This is one of those where expect the worst, hope for the best. 8.5 points. Ooh, that line is that might be a perfectly placed line right there. I predicted that BYU would actually get killed in this game. But hey, the defense, Jay Hill, he's doing his thing. Defense is not looking too bad at all. Big test for BYU. We're going to find out their identity real quick and what they're going to look like in the Big 12 after this game. So, especially against Sam Pittman down in Arkansas. So they got to redeem themselves from last year. Big game for BYU. Huge.
Completely agree. BYU's unproven. I mean, they have not looked that great in the non-con. So this is
but KJ hasn't looked super hot yet either. Too.
No, Arkansas hasn't either.
If you get the defense kind of throwing them a couple curveballs, this could be one that. I mean, I think the 8.5 line represents the willingness to go for 2 with KJ as your QB. But again, this is a live road dog for BYU.
Oh, it is. BYU can win this game, and they've won games like this historically. I do look at those points and think that's a lot of points. And usually when you say that, then, you take the points. But you can – I think it comes down to Slovis, right? That's going to be their whole season. Can it come down to Slovis? And I haven't seen a lot from Slovis where I'm like, oh, thank God you're at BYU. You're really saving them. So this is the Slovis prove-it game.
Yep, I agree. Moving along, the team, man, the Horns, big letdown spot, but I think they got too much talent here. Troy, any chance Wyoming can upset another Big 12 foe here, this time in Austin?
I mean, I don't think there's a chance on the money line. I don't think they can win this game straight up, but I think Wyoming could play the best game they possibly could and maybe keep it at like a 12 to 14 point range. Obviously it's in Austin, so that kind of sucks for somebody that hates Texas, but yeah, I don't know. It really seems like last week would have been the moment that a normal Texas quarterback would have said something stupid in a post-game interview, like, we're back. And it seems like Quinn knows not to say those two words until everything. Yeah, he didn't Sammy E it up right after week 2. Yeah. But, this seems like a Texas team that's ready to roll, and Sark looks sober, so I'm scared.
Yeah. Rush, you hinted this one as a potential weird spot. Does that number change your mind at all, though? That's a lot of points, man.
That's not that the number changes my mind. It just, to me, this just feels like a very weird game. And Kansas probably go out. They'll probably beat them by 35. Here's the thing. Kansas is winning by 42 or they're losing outright. Like, Nevada's not covering this game and Kansas still winning. I'll leave it like that. It just, from the start of this season, I just always had a weird feeling about this game. I may just be like an idiot and it's predicted it wrong, but something about this game I just don't like. And that's all I'll say.
Well, the thing that stinks about this game is Nevada, so lay the points. There's no way Nevada wins this game straight up. No, there is a 0% chance.
Nevada could have the lead at like half, and then Kansas could like win the second half 42-zip or some shit. Nevada's really bad. We'll pick that on Thursday. All right, this has been my preseason upset pick for weeks. Love Dana here. This is a Dana Super Bowl spot. First game in the Big 12. Colby already gave it out. Are you guys going to hop on this money line on Thursday with me?
Well, of course.
This is Dana, man. Troy, how about you?
This seems like a game that Houston loses by exactly 7. So I'm a little scared of the money line here. Dana could obviously win this game. Like we were talking about with Colby, you're going to see ups and downs with Dana. That's just what you get.
That's what Dana does.
I don't know. The first conference game of the year, this just seems like a TCU kind of get right on offense spot. Houston's got probably one of the better defenses just from what we've seen so far. But I'm a little scared of the money line on Dana. I think I would take Houston with the points though, for sure. If it drops to 7, maybe get in on it early.
I love it. And obviously we'll talk West Virginia Pitt. We've already talked enough about that game, and we'll talk all week on it. Eat shit, Pitt. Troy's got the fucking shirt on.
No, we got to talk. Fantastic. We got to talk West Virginia Pitt real quick because I have a couple questions for you. They're real quick ones just because you guys are Dub V fans. All right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Do you think that Greene can average 4.8 yards per completion? And do you think that CJ Donaldson can go 150 yards if he's given the rock 20 times?
Yeah. I'll take Donaldson right now. Donaldson averaged 7 or 8 yards a carry last year in his first ever college game. I think he's a year older. I think they're going to be able to run the ball. I know Colby's talking about that they're going to stack the box, but I think Green's going to beat him over the top a couple times to loosen it up. Greene had a couple of big throws against Duquesne. I know it's Duquesne. But, I think they're going to be able to run the ball. Yeah. So, I'm taking the over on that.
I just asked those questions because that's exactly what Emory Jones and Corey Kiner did for Cincinnati last week. Emory Jones, he did complete 18 of 26. He was accurate, just like Colby said, but only for 125 yards. So you're thinking about 3 or 4 third downs on like 4-yard passes that you convert, and that's all you really need. And from that point on, just fucking pound that shit. Who cares if they stack the box? Beat them with your offensive line. And that it was just funny looking at the stats for Cincinnati to win that game against Pittsburgh on the road and not really have, Pittsburgh feast on shitty quarterback play. But if you can play average and not turn the ball over, they can't really feast on anything.
Yeah, no, I agree that the formula's there. What Cincinnati did, I mean, dominated the trenches, and I like our offensive line more than Pitt or Cincinnati's. Almost said Houston. All these teams are starting to mix together. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna be here all week, and we're gonna give out our picks. I think you guys know which way we're leaning on the eat shit Pitt Mountaineer game. Before we get out of here, Rush, tell everybody where to find you. We've been going an hour strong, baby.
Yeah, at Rambling Rush, Twitter, Instagram. We've done over an hour, Ryan. We did the history of the Backyard Brawl before this on the Ryan and Rush Show. Subscribe to the Ryan and Rush Show on YouTube as well, at Ryan and Rush Show, Twitter and Instagram. And we will be continuing our Backyard Brawl preview with the sports gambling guy. Noah Beanick will be on tomorrow. And we'll do our little dive to X's and O's on Thursday. So subscribe to the Ryan and Rush Show, of course, along with the Big 12 college experience as well.
Yeah, you guys can find me over on the X on Twitter at Troy Chewning, just the full name, TroyChewning. There is 2 N's in there. But besides that, I don't know if we're gonna make the trip up to Morgantown or not this weekend, but it seems like a pretty good weekend to just completely black out and forget everything.
Oh yeah. That's if you're not blacked out watching the Backyard Brawl, you ain't doing it right. Win or lose, you're gonna have to be blacked out. And yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this. I've been waiting. We've been waiting 12, 13 years for this thing to come back to Morgantown, so that we can beat their ass one more time, man. I can't wait. So
this is gonna be how I feel about Oklahoma State when they play again in 2035 or something like that.
No doubt. No, it's personal, as Dion said last week, man. It's personal. We gave the game away last year. My God, I mean, up 7, driving, and then they punt, and then they drop the ball with 3 minutes left. Pitt runs it back. So yeah, no, it's personal this week. We'll be here every step of the way. Thank you to Pick Dundee, the GOAT, for stopping on the show as well. And like Rush said, for all you college experience fans out there, Noah Beanick joins the Ryan and Rush show tomorrow to talk a little. You know, he's a closet Pitt fan. We won't hold it against him. He's still our guy. But yeah, we'll see everybody Thursday to pick some games and pick out some winners. And you know, we'll give out a little money line round robin at the end too. So good luck, everybody, with your bets the rest of the week till Thursday, and let it ride.